times. Queer times. Queer times.
Kristen.
Hey, hi Harrison.
Hi, Kristen.
How are you?
I'm really good. Welcome to Queer Times. I'm Harrison Fish.
And I am Kristen Becker.
Yeah. We're recording this a little ahead of schedule because Kristen's about to leave for her vacation that we gabbed about last week.
By the time you listen to this, I will be on a beach in Florida, probably making some locals uncomfortable with my
Hey.
non-conforming gender bathing suits and my
Are you
swim
like a-
trunks.
Are you like a board short and t-shirt kind of girly?
I'm a swim trunk t-shirt kind of person. There was
Work.
a slight moment in my past where I was a sports bra and swim trunk, but those were many, many abs ago. And I haven't seen those abs since. So she keeps it a little covered up, but casual. I've never been a women's bathing suit person, even when I was like kind of still a woman in high school. Like it's so crazy when people don't understand gender spectrum for me, because nothing felt more comfortable than the first day I put on men's boxers or
Totally.
boxer briefs. Like I put them on, I was like, oh my God, this is way better. I have a big booty. I don't need shit up. You know what I mean? Like it was just one of those
Totally.
things where I was like, wait, my whole life I've just had to wear these uncomfortable things that don't even fit me right. And because you say I'm a lady, and then the one time I was brave enough, and I will admit, when I bought them at Walmart on Gary Drive in Shreveport, Louisiana, at the corner there, I said I was buying them for my boyfriend.
Work.
You know, that thing when you're in high school and you're like, oh, well, these are for my boyfriend.
See, I do that now when people like I use my friend's Costco card. And I've used this in the past, but my plan is like if I ever get caught, to be like, oh, it's my husband. You have a problem with that? You know,
That works
just to,
every
like-
time.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely will get you what you need in a situation if you can capitalize on the discomfort of others regarding sexuality and or gender variance.
Totally. Like the greeter at Costco doesn't want that smoke. They're just gonna let me go buy my 5 gallons of almond milk.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, no, I am that person at the beach. I was actually like, when we had talked last week and you were like, oh, ICE is going to be able to, scoop people up. I did have a moment where I was like, like, do I need to not be wearing a hat? Because people fuck up my gender all the time. And I've never claimed to be anything other than a she, sure, they. I'll take any. I don't fucking care what you call me, because who you are has nothing to do with who I am, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I did have a moment where I was like, damn, I might have to be careful, because people be thinking I'm in the wrong bathroom already, and I'm not. I'm in the right bathroom.
Yeah, I get that.
They don't understand.
Yeah, there was a story that came out last week that ICE and the U.S. government was implementing legislation so that ICE could basically apprehend someone if they suspect that they are trans. And their response was like, no, we're not doing that because ICE can apprehend anyone for any reason at any time. So still worrisome, but at least there's not that direct threat.
I was thinking a lot about it. They can do whatever they want to anybody. That's the whole fucked up part about ICE and Border Patrol,
they're murdering people in the street with no repercussions,
Right.
so they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. And I was like trying to think of like, what is my resistance to this, right? Because I'm like, what is this check, right? Like, if I'm I grew up in a place in Louisiana where I definitely had short hair, and if I'm wearing a baseball cap, I have dare say, a masculine 5. And there would be moments where I knew people were confused. It's happened recently, but I was just kind of thinking about in the Deep South and how that works. And now we're at a place where people feel emboldened and almost as if they're doing their civic duty to question what somebody's body parts are. And so then I was like, how do I resist that? I can't carry, my tits couldn't get any bigger. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm actively lugging around 2 giant clues that people miss because my masculinity is so strong.
It's that aura.
I guess so. And I've decided that I would go from being a tampon person to being a pad person, because I swear to fucking Christ, if you question me, I will leave a bloody cunt down there for you when you check, right? Like, I'm just like,
Hell
how do I
yeah.
make this so gross for you? And it's me just being like, here's a bloody vagina, asshole, because I don't know what to expect anymore when a stranger feels they have the power to question whether my body parts should be in this particular shitter.
Totally.
And that was gross. So sorry. Good morning for everybody who's listening.
Speaking of sports bras, you mentioned that you wear sports bras when you swim and things like that. The NWSL just began their first season or their second
Okay.
season. And
And that is the Women's Soccer League, for those of you who
women,
don't know.
I'm sorry, the hockey league, NWHL.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
different sport.
right. They just had one of their biggest audiences in Boston, and they
Amazing.
did this event where it was the sports bra toss, which is basically they encouraged audience or not audience members, it's the viewers of sports to bring sports bras, new sports bras, and throw them onto the ice. And basically, this is part of a fund that they're creating to help young women access athletic equipment, athletic clothing, so that they have less of a barrier to get into sports, which I think is really awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I
I
love
want to go.
throwing shit on the ice.
Throwing shit on the ice is nice. I was just thinking, I was like, wow, I would love to, because I have a big bra. And I'm like, how, like, would it make it? Would I be able to heave
You'd
it all
have
the
to
way? I'd have to
slingshot it.
slingshot it. I'd have to slingshot it. For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Another really big thing happened in women's sports, and I feel like people, as much as people are happy and excited about it, I feel like people aren't giving it the gravity it deserves. It's
No,
just
it's a
like
big fucking deal.
it is such a big deal. Like, so
Even if you don't like women's sports, but like you're like maybe more for workers' rights or anti the man and anti-capitalism and anti big business and more, worker centered, this is a big deal.
Yeah, so the WNBA Players Association did finally come to a handshake agreement with the WNBA leadership for a collective bargaining agreement, which means that we're gonna have a league. We're gonna have a league and a season this upcoming year, which I'm very excited about. And it is massive. The salary cap, which previously was 1.5 million, went up to 7 million.
So when you say salary cap, you mean the amount one person can earn?
No. So a
Okay.
salary cap is basically per team.
Okay.
So every team has 12 roster spots and they have $7 million to pay for those 12 players.
And they used to have how much?
5.
Incredible.
Yeah. So it went up massively. Highest, the supermax salary, which is for an individual player, basically what you were just talking about, went up from, I think the highest salary this past season was $265,000. And the supermax salary with this new collective bargaining agreement is $1.7 million. So players like Asia Wilson, Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, Nafisa Collier, all of these top tier talent are going to be
Celebrities.
making, they're going to be making $1.7 million, which is incredible because these women they're so smart. They all have these like incredible degrees. They're so creative. Look at what they did with Unrivaled. And I want to see them be moguls. I want to see them use their fortune to grow women's sports, but also beyond that. You look at Paige Beckers is producing a television show. Like, I want more of that. I want all of these women to take over the world. So that $1.7 million is going to do really well for them.
What an incredible raise. Like, could you imagine, like, I got a little raise this year and I was like, I'm rich. But could you imagine making 250? And I'm not saying, listen, I understand that everyone's like, that's a good living, blah, blah. Fine. Sure. It is. And you got to move around. And it also depends on where you live, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the point of training your entire life for a job and like all the years of practice that go into becoming a professional athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But to go from $200,000 to, even if it was just 1 million,
Yeah.
like a 5-time growth of your wealth.
Right.
We better make sure, like, we got to make sure these girls don't get fucking crazy. Like, we need, it happens to athletes all the time where they don't come from money and then they have a little money and then they get a lot of money and then everything crumbles. So I hope there is some Paige is going to be in Vegas.
Right. I do think the experience, and I've said this before, the experience of growing up as an elite male athlete comparatively to growing up in our current society as an elite female athlete is a very different experience.
Yeah. It
And I
probably
think
teaches
that will mitigate.
something.
Yeah. On the other end of that, it's just as exciting. The lowest salary, the minimum salary last year was 65,000, and the average or the lowest salary for the next season is going to be 300,000, which is great because that last player on the bench who doesn't see a lot of playing time, who isn't getting Nike deals and Reebok
Yeah.
deals, they're now going from making 65,000, which is pretty paltry. Not, you know what I mean? It's not.
When the job is to have no fame, no celebrity, no name and likeness, no deals, and you leave your family constantly because you're on the road and you're
Right.
physically beating up your body to literally be the practice squad, and to know that when you're done, you don't really have. I mean, yes, you have a degree, but if you have a degree, but you've spent the last 8 years not doing any work in that degree to play basketball, I do think it's important that you are able to save up some money. So at the end of all this, you can start a new business, you can do whatever you need to do
Hmm.
and build a full life. But what I'm hearing from you, what's the age for the WNBA? Like, I feel like maybe I should get into the gym.
Oh, hell yeah.
I
I could
used to
see you as a
drain
really strong power forward.
threes too, and I feel like
You can stretch the court.
if the starting pay is
Hell
I'm back in the
yeah.
gym. I feel
Totally.
like older me could be a basketball player. Younger me actually had to. I might have told you this before, but I was politely asked, or I was encouraged after my freshman year of basketball that perhaps a less contact sport would be for me
Or
because
were you were making basketball more of a contact sport? Is that what you're saying?
I don't start things, but I finish them. And if you throw an elbow, I'm gonna throw an elbow, especially if I'm 15.
Oh, you'd fit right
And
in the WNBA.
I was fouling out a lot. And a very smart person was like, there are other sports that you could use your strength in that are
Let's
less
try
close
shot
contact.
put.
It ended up being softball because I had a really great arm. But yeah,
Right.
at the end of the day, it was, we don't know if body sports are for you because you're leveling people.
I'm gonna say that was bad advice. You should have stuck with it, but
I'm not fast.
I got you.
I feel like you kind of need some speed in basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm
As
just always
exciting
going to be slow.
as this is for the league itself in this moment and the players in this moment, I'm most excited about what this does for the future of the league, for the future of women's sports, for the 8-year-old girls who are just getting into basketball, for the 15-year-old girls who are in high school wondering if they should do track or basketball or volleyball. I'm excited. I think it's going to bring, I mean, the WNBA is the premier women's basketball league in the world, and it does have most of the best women's basketball players in the world, but there are a few that are like, I don't want to go play for the WNBA. They're playing in
Yeah.
Spain and making more money. They're playing in Italy and making more money. And I'm hoping that this will attract the best talent to the league in the world, even more than it already does. Because you look at someone like Maya Moore, one of the best women's basketball players of all time. She was only in the WNBA for, I want to say, 4 or 5 years before she left to do advocacy work. And I wonder if she was making $1.7 million, if she'd still be roughing Asia Wilson up, you know?
It definitely is something that, as someone who played like sports at a level that was offered a scholarship in college, and it was definitely a thing that, I'm not bitter about it in a way that I know some people are, but like the way some people are angry who maybe played Division I sports and never got paid, and now people are getting paid. And so, like, there's
Mm,
that disparity. But I will say that it would have probably radically altered my course in life if continuing to pay sports could be a viable living. And
yeah.
that's just, I think a lot of people don't realize that women have never had that opportunity. until right now. Like, even with the formation of the WNBA, it was a living, but as you said, it was something that you could maybe do for a couple years, but then eventually real life was gonna catch up, especially if you were LGBTQ and not marrying a guy with a lot of money that
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Especially if two women were gonna be responsible for making sure all the bills were paid. So I think it's gonna have an incredible impact on young girls and young women, and there's something about being paid what you're worth that has an incredible psychological effect on your sense of self and well-being, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
this really do some things. Look out, fellas, the ladies are getting confident.
Hell yeah. And also, like, to your point of if you're LGBTQ or a queer woman playing basketball, this is, I can't think of anything else that is predominantly or exceedingly made up of queer people where you're making $1.5 million, you know?
Yeah,
And I
no,
like, as much as this is a first for women's sports, it's also a first for an organization that is predominantly queer women to be making this much money.
mhm. Yeah, only drag queens make that kind of money in queer world, and porn
Well, I mean,
stars.
for me, it's like I was just talking to someone. I was like, wow, the only two things that are ever on my television is Drag Race and women's basketball. And I realize I'm like, I just want gay people on my TV. Like, that's what I want on my TV.
I like it.
Hell yeah. But I'm
Well,
really excited to
congrats
see how everything goes.
congrats to everybody
Yeah.
getting rich.
Exactly.
I'm
But I
excited.
think it needs to be said, like, along with names like Billie Jean King, there's like these names: Nafisa Collier, Brianna Stewart, Natasha Cloud, Kelsey Plum. These names are going to go down in history as powerful women that changed not only women's sports, but how women are paid in general.
No, had an incredible impact on how women will be treated going forward, including
Hmm.
this lady right here.
Who's that?
That's an Audie Crooks. It's your
Ooh,
first Bowman card.
work. We love Audie.
Green parallel, green sparkle parallel. This is when I say the WNBA cards are lesbian crypto. That's what I mean.
I love it.
I'm really scooping them up. I got a couple Angel Reese rookies right now. I got a couple Caitlin Clarks. Paige is so hot right now. They're expensive.
I'm
Like
sure.
right now, a Paige Becker's card is like a rookie parallel, $500 to $600.
Damn.
No, it's wild.
She's that girl,
Um,
though.
no, she is that girl, and I don't have any, so I'm a little bit like, oh, I
Is there
gotta get
still an
one.
opportunity to buy packs and open and potentially get that card, or is that
Yeah,
past?
I think I'm gonna pull the trigger. I'm saving for vacation, so I didn't, but I think I'm gonna try to gamble on one and buy a WNBA Prism
Mm,
box. They're probably like 80 or $90 and see if I can rip a Page rookie.
work. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
it's fun.
Yeah. The NCAA tournaments for men and women, men starts today, women starts tomorrow, but by the time this comes out, we'll be halfway through.
Oh, that's right. We will be a little delayed, but you'll have to do updates on the socials, which, by
Perfect,
the way,
perfect,
if you're
perfect.
not, please follow us on the TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok,
I had to
Instagram,
put my
there's
glasses on to say the TikTok,
exactly, exactly.
like an old lady, and the Instagrams, because we do pretty good there.
Mm,
We're coming along,
yeah.
and I really like the way this is developing. I think we're gonna have more. I think we have more variety on that soon. I think once
Mm,
we get into our good summer flow, I want to do some more pop-ups on
I love that.
on the socials.
Yeah.
Wait, did you see the Cesar Chavez thing?
No, I mean, I heard of it, but I'm not quite familiar. Do tell.
So the New York Times came out with an article yesterday that said Cesar Chavez, a civil rights icon, accused of abusing girls for years. And, you know, this is a civil rights leader. This is someone who was for workers' rights. And I'm sure this man was a creep to young women. A few women have come out. He died in 1993. Okay.
Mm,
This is a guy who was like rallying farm workers and just a big workers' rights person who it is now discovered. Let's see, he died in 1993. So do the math, 30 years later, 33 years later, people are coming out about it. And I want the people who were abused at the hands of this man to have their validation.
mm.
But are you fucking kidding me? We are knee deep in the Epstein files, and there are a gazillion white rich men who are all dirty capitalists who have been accused of horrific crimes against girls. And the headline in the paper isn't those, it's this brown man who was for workers' rights who died 30 fucking years ago when there are living pedophiles all around that we're begging you to do something about.
In
And
power, alive and
currently in
well.
power, alive and well. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be covered. I'm just saying, like, we see what's happening as a nation, right? We see that this is another distraction. Have you seen any of this? Is connects in a way, but have you seen any of the media that the White House has been putting out
No.
regarding this war in Iran?
Oh, yeah, I have. It's a
Where
lot
it's
of just lying, it seems.
But a lot of like dude bro shit. A lot of like barons running the social media around a war. And so there was one that is like intercut with football hits and bombs landing. Like literally, like they're making memes out of bombing school children.
That's insane.
And there's one was football, one was like somebody hitting a home run, and athletes are speaking out. They're like, this is inappropriate to be using my image. This is, these things are not the same, et cetera, et cetera. But on the flip side, Iran started doing that too. And Iran made a social media campaign out of Legos that basically says in Lego form that the reason it's called Ilri Epstein Island. And they made an entire commercial about Trump launching missiles with Epstein together as a distraction from his pedophilia. So,
Jesus.
no, it's like really, I love it. I think it's fantastic because it's like, wait, this is, let me see if I can find it. But it is an incredible use of social media to call out what's happening.
Mm.
Yeah, it's incredible. If you Google Lego Iran Trump Epstein, it's an AI generated Lego propaganda video, and
Crazy.
it is Trump and Epstein launching missiles to distract from their pedophilia. And it's just crazy to me that we're gonna, again, I want the women who were hurt at the hands of Cesar Chavez to have their day, but this person died 30 years ago. Don't tell me this is the first time you heard of it. Don't fucking tell me that. It's not the first time you've heard of it. And there's literally people all around who are white, who are sucking capitalism's dick, who are not being held accountable for the way they treated 13-year-old girls. And so instead, we're going to prance out a dead person and pretend like we care.
Yeah.
Sorry, did that get dark too quick?
No, I hear you. No, I get that. I mean, there's so much going on in the world right now. It's like, it's so hard to stay up to date on everything. It's like, what is the distraction and what is the real thing? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like you see what's going on in Cuba right now. Crazy. It's barely talked about. If you don't know, the U.S. has basically blocked all oil going into Cuba, and they are on the precipice of their entire society collapsing.
I think Mexico's going to step in, though.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I believe that Mexico is basically like, hey, we don't do suffering as a political tool.
Yeah, we don't starve children and their families and citizens. And
yeah, America, we love to do that. We'll starve you. We'll make
that's
sure
kind
you
of
can't go to the doctor.
America's whole thing.
How else are we going to get them to work? How you have to when your entire nation was built on free labor. Like, no wonder they have a hard time paying a living wage. Their great grandpa had all of his workers work for free. And I said great grandpa because it was that soon ago. It wasn't that long ago. Like,
right. Totally.
Maybe great grandpa, but mostly great grandpa because these fuckers stay in power till they're 90. So it's his great grandpa,
Exactly.
Yes.
We did have some elections this past week.
Okay.
Or I guess, last week. Which was a little bit of a bummer. We did cover Kat Abughazaleh, who is a Palestinian American journalist and social media influencer. Yeah, she was running for Chicago's 9th district for the House of Representatives. And she ran a really great campaign. People really loved her. She was very no nonsense, which I feel like was very much juxtaposed against the other people running. I remember there was one clip where they asked her and a couple other people running in a debate whether she would vote to remove Hakeem Jeffries as the Democratic leader.
Mm-hmm.
And they had little signs, which was yes or no, and hers immediately popped up yes. The guy who did end up winning held his sign up sideways because he's like, well, it's a complicated issue. And I'm just like, I mean, the complication is that what you're going to do isn't what the people in the room want to hear. And you're deciding whether you should lie to their faces and then do something different once you get elected, or whether you should tell them what you're going to do and potentially get less votes because those people, it's not what your voters want.
I hate people who can't just believe a thing and stand up for it.
Especially if you're a politician, that's kind of the whole job. That's the gig. It's having
But it's
a
not. I
stance
mean,
and standing behind it.
I think it used to be, but we are slowly becoming a society of people who only want to hear what they believe and nothing else, and they don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be uncomfortable. And so now politicians are like front desk hotel people where they're like, "What do you want to hear? I'm going to tell you what you want to hear so I can get your vote." And then I honestly don't even know what I believe anymore.
Hmm.
You know, like I just feel like leadership is lacking.
Yeah. And as a Palestinian American, obviously, Abughazaleh was pro-Palestine and very much spoke about that often. And with obviously AIPAC got really involved in this race. They supported multiple candidates in the race, but I think where it got really crazy and I'm just like, what are we doing? Is the fact that AIPAC ran ads in support of the other progressive candidate in the race who was polling much lower than Kat Abughazaleh. They ran pro ads for them so that they were hoping it would pull progressive voters away from Kat Abughazaleh to this other candidate in order to split the vote. And I've kind of never a person who's like, well, if you're not polling well, you should drop out of the race because you're splitting votes and vote, because I don't quite agree with that.
Mhm.
But I think once the villain, AIPAC, is using you as a pawn, you can't just let that happen. And I wish once she realized AIPAC was using her as a pawn to get people to not vote for Kat Abughazaleh, the other progressive person running for that position, I think that's the point where I'm going to say you probably should have mitigated that by doing what you could, which was dropping out and endorsing Kat Abughazaleh.
But if you do that from a politician's standpoint, if someone were to do that, then you're alienating yourself from a funder, a giant funder. And the reality is that I think that the way politician egos work is that you don't ever believe you're being used as a pawn. You believe that these people believe in you,
Oh,
right?
well,
Like
she was anti-AIPAC. She was like, "Fuck AIPAC." And also,
oh,
AIPAC was not running ads as AIPAC. They weren't like, "This is AIPAC and we support this candidate." They were just these shady
I see.
they yeah, they were AIPAC was trying to further their own aim, not actually trying to support this candidate.
It was dirty work.
Yeah, very dirty work.
Yeah.
And I think with the money that AIPAC spent in this race, it ended up being like almost $300 per vote, which that's insane. Like,
Yeah.
why are you spending $300 per vote in an election? If not, like, there's no way you can have any real positive motive for that.
I just can't wait until there is a real tangible effort to get money out of our politics. Period.
Mm,
Our country is in shambles because democracy ends where someone's wallet begins.
mhm.
And when you have enough money to purchase all of the airtime and to donate. Like, it's just a thing where I don't know why we're even still calling ourselves a democracy, and it's just the dumbest. It's just
Yeah.
the most. It doesn't make any sense. But again, we're 250 years, so
I mean,
here
that's a
comes
big
the
issue
collapse.
that is one of the biggest issues that I look at a candidate's stance on for these upcoming elections is removing money from politics, which is overturning Citizens United. There's actually already people introducing bills to stop people being able to profit from being in office in an insane way. They're
Mhm.
like, they don't want any members of Congress or the president or vice president or their families to be trading stocks, which I think is great.
I agree. I think that's great. I think that I don't know how. When do you know when it became legal for politicians to engage in the stock market, or was that always something that was there? Because it seems so clear to me that if you are capable of altering the laws around certain things that will have direct effect on their market behavior,
Hmm.
then you don't get to own those things. Like, this is
Right.
basic morality. This isn't even complex. This is, oh, if you could put your finger on the scale, then you don't get to weigh anything and you don't get to make any money off that scale.
Yeah, I think the reason why it's allowed is because it was always considered like, of course politicians would be ethical and not do that. There used to be more of an ethics and morality built into politics,
Because I
where
think
now it's
service meant service, and serving your community was something, I mean, I've
Mhm.
said this to you before too. I watched a JFK Jr. thing about him and Carolyn Bessette, and they had asked him, like, will you ever run for office? And he was like, I just really believe that that's something for wisdom and experience. And, I'm almost at that age to do that. And I know that we disagree. And I don't think people should be 80 either, but I do think there's something to having some life experience to bring to it. And that was all built on the idea of what you're doing is you're financially stable enough in life that you can do this sort of service for a decent salary, not a crazy salary, but a decent more than what a
Mm,
WNBA player used to make. And bring your breadth of knowledge and experience, and this is something that was viewed with respect, and
mm,
you were doing a service to your country, and people nominated you because you had strong character and good leadership, and you weren't afraid to speak truth to power. And now people nominate you if you tell them what they want to hear. you know
mhm.
we do have a couple. Sorry, were you done there? I was moving on
I'm
to
done.
QTs. All right.
Let's do cutie of the
um
week.
Let's do cutie of the week. For me personally, my cutie of the week, cuties of the week, there's multiple of them. There are a lot of communities who are resisting. So basically, ICE is obviously detaining a lot of people. And in order to detain all those people, they are trying to purchase industrial warehouses and turn them into large scale immigration detention centers because they need beds to put these bodies in. Right.
Well,
And what's that?
I I don't think they're getting beds,
Correct.
metaphorical beds.
Metaphorical beds. And there's been a lot of resistance, and some places have really been able to push these warehouses out of their neighborhood. Merrimack, New Hampshire, in February, the federal government decided to not pursue a detention facility following intense local pushback. Oklahoma City, weeks and weeks of protests, and the owner of the warehouse broke off talks with ICE because the people around it were relentless. Mississippi, they were rejected after local opposition and intervention from a senator who was like, no, this is going to strain our local infrastructure. Minnesota, warehouse sites withdrew negotiations from ICE because of the intense public outcry and the effects that basically people were like, oh, you could do this, but everything else you own in this town, we're going to fucking boycott, and we're not going to. Georgia, they are currently actively opposing a project that could house up to 10,000 detainees. So for me, that's a level of resistance that is effective, and you can tell the government, I've never been a NIMBY kind of person, right? The not in my backyard sort of person. But when the thing they're trying to put in your backyard, when it's not about property value, it's about human suffering in your backyard, then yeah, go out there and protest and make sure they have nowhere. Because what are they going to do if they don't have anywhere to put all these people they're detaining?
Mhm.
So for me, QTs of the week, local
Hell yeah.
communities joining together. relentless, consistent pressure and people realizing that the people don't want it. And that's where the power lies. Power to the people.
Yeah, I mean, a detention facility does not serve your community. All it does is
It might
negatively
get you jobs. It might
Yeah.
get you jobs. But
jobs
listen,
that will put you in front of the Hague in 10 years.
I think that's something to really talk about because it can get you jobs that will put you in front of the Hague, and also jobs that will break your soul as a person. I
Mhm.
know people who work in corrections. I know, my brother-in-law is a corrections officer. My friends were corrections officers. My girlfriend's father was a cop. And are they good paying jobs? Sure. Are they going to lead to a lot of stress if you're a decent human who can't see, who can't stand watching other human beings be treated like animals? Like, what are the jobs and what is the cost on that community? Because now let's say they hire 500 people. Well, now you got 500 more guys getting shit hammered at the local bar so they can get over the fact that they're caging human beings like animals and they're sleeping on the floor. And you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
because the only argument for any local community to be for this is job creation, but just be wary of those jobs because they're going to have a lasting effect in a way that you might not be thinking of right now.
Yeah, and also, do you want people that are willing to do that job to be attracted to your community? No. And it's the same thing with these gigantic AI data centers. They're not like they don't provide you or your community anything. And AI itself also, like AI is destroying the world, it's destroying communities, making everyone's electricity bills go up. And AI is like, does it make anyone's life better?
I'm not the person to talk to about this. I do believe that unchecked it will be crazy. I do think the cat is already out of the bag, or the top is already off the bottle, or the genie's already out of the whatever. I am somewhat, and I've had many discussions this week specifically about how much water usage AI uses. But let me tell you what, the grant letters that bitch can write. When, like, as somebody who is not a grant writer, ChatGPT and I have cranked out multiple grants. I mean, obviously, I go back and I tweak it, but there is formatted things that it does, and I use it to its full potential, and that's just the truth. And I'm not ashamed of that, but I am a
I,
little bit.
I guess my big take on AI is like, I think the technology is useful. I just don't think we're using it for the right things.
Well, I agree with that, and that's why I'm like, I don't like make art with it, right? I had one day when it first came out that I was like, oh, this is crazy, and then I was like, oh, this is not good. And everybody's like, you're using so much water. I was like, great, no.
Right.
But I will be like, hey, look up this foundation and tell me what their key, like, what are their
Like,
biggest
what do
points
they
of
love?
interest?
Yeah.
And what do I need to focus on when I write this grant, right? And they'll be like, well, this is going to be something they really love. And then I'm like, dude, great, thank you so much.
Like, could we not use AI to like mitigate traffic?
Oh, I'm sure we could. I'm sure there's lots of things we could do that would make everything better, but we don't get to do that because our country is led by people who don't know what AI is.
Right. I mean, yesterday I had a thought. I got I was pulling through a green light. It turned yellow. It turned red. I just didn't make it. And I sat there for a minute or two while the other road had the green light and not a single car came by. So I was just sitting there at this empty intersection. I'm like, this is what AI should fix.
Wow. All right. I think that's it. We did it, right?
Hell yeah.
Actually, I have to go. I have to do a SAS interview in 3 minutes.
No
I'm
way.
like
Congrats.
cranking everything out so that by the time you hear this, I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
All
There'll
right,
be
cute.
Friday, Kristen's brain gets turned off.
I'm like, yeah, no, it's going to be incredible. By the time you hear this, I'm going to be really stoned on a beach somewhere.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Um,
Well,
thank you for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe, rate, follow us on TikTok, Instagram. Yeah,
do all the things. Love you.
clearly. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Queer is in.